7 months now. We have had a staff at the health department for almost 2 years. I will not belabor I think all of you have heard the story about how it started, how old it is, our work areas. I think a number of you were at the Healthy Campus Town Hall or have heard the mayor talk about that number of times, and so I think you all know the story, so I won't talk too much about that, but I do, and I will, and do I just click to advance? Is that right? Okay. So, 2009, initiated by Mayor Joe Reardon, 18th month planning process. We focus on 5 areas that are meant that the community selected to improve the health of Wyandotte County, and you can see them there. The coalition as it stands right now is in the implementation phase, and we work with about 50 organizations on our 5 action teams in each of these areas. And I'm going to give a brief presentation about what each of these are doing. The work has picked up quite a bit on it, and there's some very exciting stuff going on. So I will start with communications, which was our last action team to come up. It's being chaired by Mark Wiebe, who is the Public Affairs Director at Wyandotte Inc. We have the challenge of communicating health issues in a county where we do not have a dedicated newspaper or a dedicated TV news coverage. It seems like often news agencies will come over if there's a murder, but if there's the opening of a new education center like the KCC Tech Center, we don't get a single news camera there. And that is kind of the climate in which you work and that we're trying to do our work. So that's kind of what we're trying to operate in that. Fortunately, we work with a great public relations department. We're about to release a website. This is kind of a screenshot of the homepage. It's going to have some information about each of our areas. We're going to talk about the action teams. Here's another shot kind of the different partners that we work with. County Health Project Database. This was a great idea. That's going to be released a little bit later than the actual website. The idea is that there's lots of great agencies doing lots of great projects in the county, but they often don't know about each other, and there's no really central source of information for them. So if you want to partner on a grant, if you want to know what's going on in another part of the county, you have to know someone, and there's no centralized spot. And so even though it's going to take a little bit more legwork, we'd like to really get that up and running to be able to have a database. In addition, I don't know if any of you know this, but the health department has a very popular Facebook page, about 2,500 users, and most of them are young women. And so it's a great opportunity to get information out to especially that audience. So, and Healthy Communities Wyandotte uses that. Our education team is chaired by Ray Daniels. We just received, this is exciting, a $100,000 grant. Children's Mercy is the one who actually wrote it and got it, but we are the key operational partner in that grant, and we're going to be working on a childhood obesity initiative called 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Fit-tastic, which we're really excited about. And I just have some pictures here. Both our education team and our steering committee is going to work to increase the number of partners in the community that are using this as their framework for dealing with kids' weight and kids' health issues. The great thing about Children's Mercy is that they've done a lot of work to figure out the 5 interventions, like the 5 ways that if you're dealing with kids to help them maintain a healthy weight. And there's 1,000 different ways to do that, 1,000 different ideas, and they have a lot of great minds working on it, and so they've really nailed it down to these 5 things. It's not just a really rigid thing, it's really more of a framework to help orgs work with that. So 1 hour more of physical activity, 2 hours or less of screen time, 3 servings of low-fat milk or yogurt for calcium. This is probably, in my mind, the most important. Drink 4 servings of water, not pop. not tea, not lemonade. Sugar-sweetened beverages are the single highest source of calories in the American diet of anything, more than meats, more than anything else, that's a huge intervention. And then eating 5 fresh fruits and vegetables per day is the 5th element. Our infrastructure team, and so we'll be working on that for the next 19 months, trying to get folks together. We're actually planning on that, a countywide kickoff for that to coincide with this start of school, and so we're really excited about that. Our infrastructure team, chaired by Heidi Holliday, we looked at the county, and we were tasked with prioritizing the 20 miles of on-street bike routes that would be focused on transportation, so biking from home to work, from home to school. And we're going to be working on some recreational routes after this. This is kind of our first hash at looking at building a bikeable Wyandotte and a system where folks, if they don't have a car or if they opt to ride instead of walk or drive their car, could go on. You heard a presentation from Bill Heatherman. We're very excited because one of those routes has made it into this request for MARC funds, for the KDOT funds, and we are extremely excited about that. This is the kind of stuff that we're talking about. Bike lane. This is called a Sharo. It's a share the road sign. We're also working on river trails next to the levees, and so I have a couple pictures here. As part of this planning process, we took a team of community residents and UG staff out on the streets and actually toured these routes, which was a lot of fun. We actually got some feedback from it, which made us alter the routes. It was also a really good opportunity to connect members of UG staff to folks in the community. A lot of times, you know, just because they have different ways of operating and different networks, they don't really get an opportunity to talk to each other. And this was a really great opportunity. It was hot, and we sweated a lot, but it was really good. And so here's our route here's our final draft for the routes that we chose. Central Avenue is actually our first one, which you can see there. That's the one because of the amount of use, the population density, which was our #1 priority. That's a huge project, and so we weren't ready to really submit that project. And our second one, for the same reasons, was 10th and 12th, and you can see it there going down. So we're going to see what's going to happen here in the next 3 or 4 or 5 months on that. The next one, I'll just touch on this briefly. You guys heard a presentation from Steve Daly of the Fairfax District last on the April 21st meeting, where he talked about opening a portion of the Fairfax District for a trail. We're very excited about that. We're also excited about doing the same thing for the Kaw Valley Drainage District, which runs south. This is a big project, and the vision of it is even bigger. We talked. This doesn't show up anywhere on this plan, but we talked as a team as we were kind of thinking about the possibilities of what trails along the rivers would look like. We thought it would be amazing if in 10 years, I have no idea, and we don't know how long this would take, if we could have, you know, all of Wyandotte County is really surrounded by rivers. You have the Missouri River on the top and the Kansas River on the bottom that kind of bisect our counties and kind of flow out. And on the top really gets pretty close to Wyandotte County Lake at about, is it about 100th Street? I mean, it's a little off, but it's about there. And we thought, wouldn't it be awesome if we could open up trails that go along both rivers, and then at about Wyandotte County Lake, find a streamway and cut it all the way down so that we could have, it would be about a 30-mile loop around our county And I think that would be an incredible resource for folks in our county. And I think people would actually travel to the county to use that. I think it would be beautiful. It would be used. Like I said, that is a project for the future. Yes.
I have a question.
While that is a wonderful idea, have you gotten any favorable response out of Caw Valley Drainage District for using their levees?
You know,
Yeah.
I believe that we have had some, yes. There might be someone in the audience who could speak to it a little better than me.
In the past.
Bill Heatherman is approaching to give us the download.
Years
on
ago,
Caw Valley.
we had proposed a walking trail, and we
Right.
tried to force it through with some legislation that took control of the ability to use it, and the drainage district lobbyists stopped it in Topeka. And of course, their primary concern, they claim, is wear and tear to the top, but also potential vandalism to their equipment, and they were absolutely dead set against ever using levees. So
Things have shifted.
Bill, can you update
I
us?
hope they have. Bill?
Yeah.
There's something to comment on that?
Well, I think just in terms of the quality of the working relationship, things have shifted quite a lot, and probably on both sides. We're now in a mutual dialogue with both levee districts. They have their concerns. The UG has its goals. What is currently approved is a starter section with the Fairfax district coming out of Cobb Point Park, and a separate discussion about a starter section for a small portion of the Caw Drainage District also. So I think we have the right starting point with both districts. I would not say that either district has necessarily signed on for, you know, this plan as shown, and it would be going too far to say that, you know, that's a given. But the starter sections are actively worked on. Bob Roddy's been working on that, and if all goes well, I think that starts to build the kind of trust and understanding that might allow other discussions to occur.
Good.
Question from Commissioner Kane.
That's a comment. We talked about this the other day, and there's a small starting point. And then there was some conversation about not walking on a levee, walking on the side, where there's another road down there. And it does sound like we're getting there. I think it's going to be a while before we make that big loop, but I don't think it'll be that far to make it to the bridge and then back around. The Fairfax Bridge.
If we look at the duck head up there, right, everyone can kind of see the head of the duck with Fairfax in the middle. The starter section would be down there around the back of the neck for a short distance.
Well, that ringneck duck.
Right. And to get all the way around just on the Fairfax levee part to kind of that far western tip at the beak of the duck is like 4.5
miles, I think.
8 miles or something in that order. So even just to make that kind of outside piece of that rim would be quite a big project someday down in the future if the operation and comfort level with this starter trail go well.
Put it in money for them.
Oh, we don't even have, we have not made an estimate, so it would not be responsible for me to guess a number. I'll either be too high or too low.
Right. Other questions right now?
Thank you. And yes, I would echo what Bill said, that this slide is not a plan, it's a dream. And I think we have some good starts on putting some kind of trail on both of the districts, which is a huge movement forward. The eventual dream is years and years down, but we got excited about it, and I thought you guys might get a little bit excited about it too. So, health services, we have two more. I will go quickly. Chaired by Jerry Jones, who's the executive director of the Wyandotte Health Council. We founded Enroll Wyandotte. Obamacare has landed, and there are a lot of folks in Wyandotte County who are uninsured, and we wanted to make sure, one, that they could get health insurance, and two, that they would not get fined. A lot of folks just do not know about the law. do not know about the requirement that they must get health insurance now. So it was both kind of a carrot and a stick. We wanted to let them know about it so they could get a service, and then also say, if you do not access this service, you will be fined. And so we helped 500 people through the application process and did outreach to about 4,000. We were very excited about that. We did that on very few resources, and we were very proud of that, and we're already ramping up for next year. Here's just a couple pictures of what we've done. This picture appeared in the Wall Street Journal down here. They sent a reporter. We utilized a very different model because we used almost all volunteers to help people through the application. We didn't have that much money, and it's very unique across the country, so they sent a reporter, and we were in the Wall Street Journal, which we were very happy about, along with the Star and some other agencies around here. Our final team, Nutrition, is chaired by Catherine Kelly, Executive Director of Cultivate KC. We just got done with a food summit. We had 230 leaders attend, and we focused on improving access to healthy food in schools, low-income households, within organizations, including the unified government, and in neighborhoods. And at the end, we had leaders make commitments to how they would improve access in their sphere. We got some really good feedback. That event just happened, so we haven't had time necessarily to debrief and come up with the specific action steps, but we're really excited about that. I just have a couple of pictures to close out. Here's the food summit. 230, it was held at the KCC Tech Center, which, by the way, is an incredible place. I'm sure all of you have seen it, but we were really pleased with it. A couple folks working in a work group there. We had a breakout where we were generously supplied by some maps by Geospatial Services, and we had folks draw in their neighborhoods what healthy food access would look like there, and that was really fun for folks, and I think enlightening. And then people ate, and the culinary school provided the food, and like the building, that school is amazing. The food was wonderful, and I'd say if you guys ever have an opportunity to eat any of the food they cook, it was top-notch. I mean, like, top-notch. So it was a great event. We were very pleased about it and thought a lot of energy for that issue was built. Really quick, the commission has been awesome about pushing a lot of things through that have really benefited the health of our residents, infrastructure, the Complete Streets Policy, Sidewalk Control Master Plan, and then that plan was used to get some money to build some projects that are being built right now. The funding, of course, through the Hollywood Casino Grant. H2O to Grow Pilot Grant Fund has put in and being constructed right now 7 free water taps for gardens in our community, which will boost fresh fruit and vegetable growth in our county. And then, of course, we have a policy change, which a lot of you have heard about, in the school district to remove milk, chocolate milk, strawberry milk from the diet, which is still being implemented because those kids love that milk. Yes.
The H2O to Grow Pilot Grant Fund, I see it says it's applied 7-1 gardens with free water tap. Can you tell me which gardens those were?
Northrop Park Community Garden, IEJ Farms, Turner Community Garden, Kansas Bootenese Community Garden, Garden of Peace, and the Rosedale Development Association has a garden at South Early Street, and I think that might be it. There were 7 of them. I'm not sure if that was... Yes, correct.
And how much did all 7 gardens receive?
It ended up costing a little bit more than we anticipated, but it ended up being about $87,000 for the work. But that was money that had, to my understanding, and I won't speak on the behalf of Public Works, who actually had the money and allowed us to do it. But I think that was saved from another year. They had there was some money that it cost less to do something, and so they very generously allowed us to use that to help increase access. So.
But that grant does come through. It came by way of this committee, correct?
I believe so. Yes. Yes, I believe so. So, yeah. So yeah, that's it. I appreciate the time. I stand for questions, and thank you very much.
And I had a few questions, but I'll refer back to that. If a garden wants to apply for those H2O to grow funds, what's needed? When do they apply? Will they receive the paperwork?
There's an application process for it. I don't think we've talked about doing another one. Our first year, the first year you do anything, you have to figure out everything, and I will say that process, just trying to figure it all out, we established an entirely new grant fund, and it was not without hiccup. And so we will be talking with the Public Works Department about a next year, but we still have to make a couple of changes. But if it's anything like last year, it's an application, and it isn't incredibly difficult. You have to write some answers about how you're going to beautify the land, what you're going to grow, how you're going to benefit the community. And when we do that, I would love to send you that if there's some gardens in your district that would like to apply.
Okay, are any of those gardens in the urban core that you mentioned?
Yes.
Which one?
I'm almost all of them are. IEJ Farms is at 5th and Haskell. Turner is at 53rd down there. Rosedale is at 31st and Early, I think, 34th and Early. Northrop obviously is at 10th and Grandview. Almost all of them are, yeah.
Okay, that's a good question, because I was concerned if you were to say that there was cloudiness around the application process.
Right.
But then there were actual people who didn't get a chance to apply because of the misunderstanding of how to apply.
Sure,
That's
sure.
important.
Yeah, and I will say we're always trying to improve, making sure that as many people as possible know about it as possible. So we'll make sure that we push it out when we do it again.
Okay. And this is a question, I don't want it to sound like a probing question, but it really is. When I read on the first page, it said that the Healthy Communities Wyandotte was founded in 2009, based on the fact that we had ranked last in the state in terms of health. I'd like to know where we ranked in 2010, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Do you have that?
Yeah, I'd like for that to be a difficult question to answer because they're all different, but unfortunately we're still at the bottom. A lot of the county health rankings are linked to things like poverty, high school graduation rates, housing problems, things that are very long-term in the county. One of the things about the health rankings that makes them both useful and kind of frustrating is that it's not just how many gardens are there. Like, we can fix gardens pretty fast, It's how many people have jobs, what's the unemployment rate, what is the poverty rate. And in Kansas City, Kansas, unfortunately, we're a very urban county, and our poverty rate is much higher than a lot of other counties. I don't think it means that we're not making progress, but we haven't necessarily shot up in those rankings like I would have loved. I think it's the more we can really grasp how to work on those kind of endemic big picture things, I think the better we'll do, but those things consequently are hard to move, and it takes a long time. So, but yes, I think this year we were 99th out of 102. So, yeah.
Other questions?
I want to ask you more questions because I don't essay questions.
Any other questions? This was for information only, so no action is required, and it is the only item on our agenda, so this concludes our meeting. Thanks to everyone for your attendance. Thank you for your presentation. And thank you for teeing them up for us.
You're welcome.
Thank you.